Afternoon. A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen ISD Independent School District will be held Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, beginning at 5:30 p.m. in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas, 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than as shown on this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Item number 1, call the meeting to order. I have done so at 5:30 p.m. Item number 2, moment of silence. Thank you. Item number 3, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Those Pledge of Allegiance get faster every time that we do it.
I pledge allegiance.
Item number 4, public comment. We have 2 speakers today. Before I call them up, I do want to play a quick video.
Here are the public comment procedures. Number 1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenISD.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 2 minutes per meeting. Number 3, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Thank you.
Información a personas para comentarios públicos. Número 1. Las personas que deseen participar durante la parte de la reunión designada por comentarios públicos deberán registrarse en McAllenISD.org al menos 1 hora antes del inicio de la reunión programada. Número 2. Los comentarios de un individuo a la Junta no excederán de 2 minutos por reunión. Y por último, número 3. La Junta no tolerará la perturbación de la reunión por parte de los miembros del público asistente. Gracias.
Okay, first we have Mr. Greg Filato. Greg Filato. No? Okay. Next we have Ms. Beverly Avila. All right, Ms. Avila, we are going to give you 2 uninterrupted minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, President Rivera, and board members. I am speaking on behalf of Sylvia Tanguma, AFT President. Since the beginning of this school year, I've been in constant communication with administration regarding the unfair change made in August 2024 that requires elementary teachers to report at 7:30 a.m. to supervise students, essentially acting as babysitters. This shift happened after ESSER funds were cut and paraprofessionals were no longer available to cover early arrivals. We've been told that principals have been asked to be lenient with teachers who must drop off their own children at other campuses. But the reality is many principals are not being lenient at all. Some may have even gone so far as to require tutoring to start at 7:30 a.m., even though the instructional day doesn't begin until 7:50. This means teachers have to arrive by 7:25 a.m., which adds to their already demanding schedule. This is the first time in McAllen ISD history that elementary teachers are being expected to fill this role, and it's not equitable. Middle and high school teachers are not being asked to do this. Dr. Gutierrez previously committed to reinstating the 7:45 start time, and we even shared that information with members at the teacher job fair. But now that commitment is being walked back due to alleged resistance, as per Ms. Nino. Part of this resistance comes from teachers being told that if they choose the 7:45 a.m. time, they will be placed on early morning duty as an additional duty. If the concern is a 5-minute window between teacher arrival and class start time, we can simply adjust the start of instruction to 7:55, as was done in previous years. Elementary teachers already work far beyond their required time, and students go far beyond the state-mandated instructional minutes. We are simply asking for fairness. Let elementary teachers keep their 7:45 a.m. start time and stop treating them as babysitters. Respect their time and the critical work that they do, just like we do for the rest of the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Avila. Okay. Item number 5, consent agenda items. Do we,
I move to approve.
okay, that'll be a motion by Ms. Sofia Peña, second by Trustee De La Garza Lopez, to approve 5A through 5L. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0, right? Oh, 7, sorry.
7-0.
There we go, all right. All right. Okay. Item number 6, instructional services. 6A, instructional services, instructional leadership items. 6A1, report regarding Student Health Advisory Council. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Mr. President and Board of Trustees, Administration will report on the Student Health Advisory Council, SHAC. Dr. De Hoyos, Associate Superintendent, will share more information, and this item is for information purposes only. Go ahead, Dr. De Hoyos.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, Board President, and rest of the board. We have an annual report by the School Health Advisory Council. As per EHAA legal, a board shall establish a local school advisory council known as SHAC, to assist the district in ensuring that local community values are reflected in the district's health education instruction. We are a group of individuals that represent a segment of the community and the district, and we're appointed by the district and the board to serve as an advisory board and discuss the school health program and its impact on student health and learning. With following the Texas Education Code, we are to have 4 annual meetings, and these are the dates that we met and the agendas for each of the meetings. And then throughout the year, we work on efforts, and today we're going to give you a report of those efforts. And with me today, I have representatives of the elementary, middle school, and high school committees that will come and assist me with this presentation and also highlight the efforts that they're very proud of. So with us today, we have Arturo Alvarado Puente. He is a physical education teacher at Fields Elementary. Mr. Ignacio Lanis, principal at De Leon Middle School. And Berta Amaro, mathematics teacher at Rowe High School. I'm going to ask them to please be here, come to the podium, and we'll start with the elementary report. Mr. Puente?
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, board members. This is our highlights for the elementary SHAC report. We have high registration numbers in 5th grade Elevate. Thigpen Zavala composed a nutrition song to promote healthy habits. We have a high rating on our WellSat policy rating, and recommendations are to provide before school physical activities at all elementary campuses.
And if there's any questions, we can ask the representatives at the end of the presentation, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Now we have middle school.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, board. So my name is Ignacio Alanis Jr. I'm the principal at Alonso de Leon Middle School. And so the following are a few highlights of the work that we've done, all our efforts. On behalf of middle school campuses, I'd like to share the work that we've done through the School Health Advisory Council to promote healthy habits amongst students and staff. Our teams have focused on the importance of wellness through eye-catching posters that highlight the importance of exercise, nutrition, hydration, and sleep. These visuals have been strategically posted throughout our campuses, and these visuals are reinforced by daily communications through campus announcements and social media posts that encourage students to make positive choices for their well-being. Okay, we've also expanded opportunities for physical activity during open gym activities before school and structured recess during lunch times, and by promoting after-school programs like the Boys and Girls Club of McAllen Elevate programs. Okay, so these efforts not only support physical health, but also boost mental well-being and academic focus. I want to thank you for your help in supporting our mission for overall wellness across every single level.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez and board. I'm a representative of the high school committee. As shown on the slide, we asked our high school students what are the most important things that they want to know about health and organization, and they provided some of our feedback in a way of a survey. We asked them, could you please let us know what is it that we're looking for? And they're like, we see it publicized in the media, but we want to know a little bit more about it in class or in school. So we made some posters to publicize nutrition and efforts to eat better in the high school. These posters are going to be placed in our cafeterias and around our school. These are just examples of some of them that we brought. They also want to know about meal preps. They're very excited about learning how nutrition is going to affect their well-being throughout the life. And any other questions, you just let us know. Thank you.
Co-posters. Thank you, Mr. Puente, Mr. Alaniz, and Ms. Amaro. Now we'll continue with our district subcommittees, and we have for Physical Education Health Committee, Brian McLenny. I ask that he come to the podium, along with Norma Cabrera, Marian Saldua for Mental Health and Prevention Curriculum, Aurora Figueroa for the Wellness and Health Problem Prevention, along with Ms. Elizabeth Gutierrez. Safe and Supportive Schools Committee is represented by Chief Jose Silva and Mr. Adrian Garza, and our School Employee Wellness Committee by Mr. Andy Silva. Let's start with the report.
Okay, our highlights. We have a great curriculum writing team comprised of 6 elementary physical education coaches, 4 middle school, and 3 high school. They're going to be meeting every June. They're going to be meeting June 9th, 10th, and the 11th to go through the health and physical education curriculum. We have a strong relationship with the City of McAllen Parks and Recs Department and also the City of McAllen Boys and Girls Club. We exceed the required minutes per week in physical education at all levels. And we have great participation in the McAllen ISD Boys and Girls Club Elevate Developmental League. We have a elementary cross-country meet every year, an elementary track meet every year, and we started about 4 years ago, 6th grade track meet at all of our middle schools. We have great participation in the McAllen Kids Marathon, and we have great participation in our after-school programs, which are Safe and Secure, Parks and Rec, and Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you, Mr. McLenny.
Good evening. I'm Norma Cabrera, Director for Counseling. So under mental health, some of the discussions and some of the highlights that we have here to share with you is continue to develop our comprehensive counseling curriculum and share with students the importance of mental health for awareness purposes via our guidance curriculum. Also, we want to provide additional mental health staff development opportunities to staff, teachers, staff, and also parents, increase parental engagement, opportunities and participation, and promote healthy living, eating information via guidance counseling lessons and school-wide initiatives. So that's the information under mental health. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Gutierrez and board members. My name is Aurora Figueroa, and I'm the Assistant Director for the Child Nutrition. And I am pleased to present the highlights from our Wellness and Health Committee report. We are committed to the health and wellness of our students. In October 2024, we conducted a food sampling event at different campuses to gather our students' feedback on menu items as part of our menu development process. This initiative aims to empower students to share their opinion, but also their food preferences. We also display educational materials promoting local fruit and vegetables and their benefits on our serving lines. Our goal is to introduce our students to fresh fruit and vegetables at a young age by providing salad options and offering kitchen tours. Our administration team is collaborating for next year. We're collaborating with various vendors to organize next year food show for our students and staff. We want to create an engaging, enjoyable event for our students and staff while empowering our students to participate. Thank you for your support to our wellness program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Gutierrez Board. My name is Elizabeth Gutierrez. I'm the Director of Health Services for McAllen ISD. I'd like to share the highlights on behalf of our nurses in the district. Our school nurses led monthly health education initiatives beginning with the month of February, being Healthy Heart Month. They did flyers, posters, bulletin boards. They even did a video on the scholastic screens on the campuses. In March, our theme was healthy nutrition, promoting balanced eating habits. In April, stress awareness. And in May, we did vision health to protect the vision. These initiatives reflect our mission to support the whole child physically, mentally, and emotionally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, Board of Trustees. So on the Safe and Supportive School Committee report, we wanted to report some highlights. I'm sure some of y'all have seen some of our police department newsletters. We're issue 21, communicating trending monthly topics to include vaping, dangers, not just criminally, but also to your health. High volume of therapy canine utilization requests are being made. That's either for crisis, behavioral crisis, or mental health crisis. All staff and substitutes have been trained in standard response protocol and silent panic alert technology. And of course, our recommendation is to allow for enhanced continuous education. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Andres Silva. I'm Director for Employee Benefits. And some of the highlights of the School Employee Wellness Committee include promotion of low-cost and no-cost wellness programs, such as the zero-cost flu shot clinics held at each campus, as well as the zero-cost telemedicine benefit. Distribution of wellness-related content via emails, workplace postings, and in-person meetings. And that also included a video related to that telemedicine benefit. And for the following school year, to continue the education efforts with a focus on increasing employee engagement in campus, district, or community-sponsored wellness activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is our yearly report, and if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Anybody?
I do. Oh, go ahead. Me?
Sure, Lizzie.
Go, Lizzie.
I can't see very well in here, sorry. Thank y'all for presenting. So the elementary representative said something about having some playtime before the school day, and I was just curious because I know some campuses in the past had that in their daily routine where parents who needed to drop off their kids earlier could drop them off and know that they would get some unstructured playtime, recess, whatever you want to call it, in the morning. Do you know if we're still doing that, or does that not really happen?
I know some of the coaches were saying about, because of start time, now we're starting earlier, so some of them had clubs, like a walking club or clubs going on, but now with the early start time, I mean, that's kind of like,
Sure.
That's interfering, so.
A little hard to do.
Yes.
Okay. I think that was a really good practice, and we can talk about this as the end of the school year goes on, but just having the opportunity or option for students to play before the school day, so because it energizes them, and then they sit down early and they're ready to, focus and learn. So I appreciate, those of you who were working on that. And then I have another question. I know that this committee has made recommendations about recess. What is the recommendation that this committee put together? Like, I think it was in 2022 or something. Hello, Mr. McClenny.
Hello. So elementaries are required to have at least 20 minutes of recess. In the past, a couple of campuses had a little flexibility of having recess after lunch. The recommendation in the past was also to have recess before lunch, but this comes down to master scheduling and so forth. Middle school, all 6 of our middle schools have gone to a recess. I think all 6 of our middle schools do have some type of recess in the morning when the kids are dropped off. But as far as elementary, it's required. 20 minutes of recess can be used as punishment also. And the best practice is to have the recess before lunch. But sometimes that's not realistic, especially with big campuses.
Sure. Right, thank you. And personally, I think all of us are probably proponents of recess and having that unstructured time. So I'm glad that our committee made a requirement, and I'm wondering maybe to the board or admin that we can discuss actually creating policy as local policy. I know some districts have, since it's already a requirement, that we just kind of spell it out, 20 minutes daily unstructured playtime. It's something to consider in the future.
And it is in policy. It's in regulation, actually. So it's in
really?
It's in the wellness regulation. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I was looking at that. I couldn't find it, but I'll look again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Director, I have one question for you. Is 20 minutes sufficient for elementary kids for recess?
Well, for recess, yes, that's sufficient. Now, like in middle school, it's probably around 10 to 15 minutes because of the lunch periods. But elementary, that is sufficient. We do exceed the amount of minutes required. Some campuses have 45-minute PE periods plus a 20-minute recess. We're going to encourage the campuses to have a 30-minute physical education period, to maybe extend that if possible. Because all the research out there says the kids need to have physical activity as much as possible. Unstructured recess is great. There's a lot of research on that, where kids, and I saw it as a practitioner, as a middle school principal. We started recess a long time ago during lunch, and it was great for a kid like me when I was smaller. I needed to get outside. The kids are ready to go outside. They're ready to play. They're ready to form their teams. Some kids just want to walk. Some kids just want to chit-chat outside, but just being outside in the sun is good for kids. So the 20 minutes, I think that was a good sweet spot for everyone within the master schedules of our elementaries. Plus, we exceed the minutes required. You only required 135 minutes. Our low campuses on the minutes get 150 a week, and some get close to 60 minutes every day. So it's close to 350 minutes a week, 300 minutes a week of physical education plus recess.
I think, I'm a big proponent of recess and unstructured time, and I think 20 minutes seems small to me. I'm not an educator, but I defer to you all. But I would be interested in learning more about if there's studies out there showing if we increase that from 20 minutes to 30 minutes to 40 minutes, whatever it is, and what that does to the academics, especially for elementary school students. We all know, kids need to move around in order to be able to learn. And I think SB 25, which is on the calendar, was supposed to be on the calendar today, would mandate minimum 30 minutes a day.
Right. Yeah, 30 minutes of physical education, and then you can, I think some campuses have multiple recesses throughout the day, correct? Yes, and I think Ms. Nino can verify that. Some do have multiple recesses, multiple times a day. So, but yes, you're correct. 30 minutes a day of physical education is required. And, well, it's 135 minutes a week.
May I piggyback off of what you were saying, Trustee Haddad? I know that Austin ISD and there's some other districts that have passed a requirement of 30-minute unstructured recess that, like you said, Mr. McClenny, is not allowed to be negotiated with poor behavior or grades or assignments or whatever. But I also know there's a pilot study in Fort Worth ISD happening now where there are, throughout the day, there's 4 different short 15-minute increments. And so far, I know it's still going on, but what they found was very positive associations with students' performance and stuff. But I think this is a really great conversation, and thank you, Mr. McClenny, for supporting some unstructured play for students.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
I just had a comment to the general members of the SHAC committee. Thank you for everything you do. I think it's absolutely vital what you're doing. And I look forward to working with you all and to see how this board can support those efforts, especially when it comes to nutrition and education about nutrition. You know, there's a lot of it it's not our fault, but we're getting fed a lot of ultra-processed food, which is bad. But we need to be able to learn about that and teach our children how to figure out what's good food and what's bad food. So I applaud everything you're doing. These posters are fantastic, and I look forward to working with you all on that.
Thank you. I also, okay, go ahead. I just wanted to highlight that we also have parents that are part of the SHAC here.
If they're parents, can they stand up? We just want to be able to.
Well, I know we have Ms. Ruiz here, and Mr. Carrion was also one of our SHAC.
Oh.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate my appreciation for having had the opportunity to serve on the SHAC this year. It was an eye-opening experience as somebody who, thinks primarily about instructional excellence, to come to those meetings and sort of hear all of the different ways that the staff and the community is thinking about the education of the whole child. I think we got a small glimpse of that from these various reports, but I would encourage our fellow board members to attend one or more of those next year, just to get a deeper sense of the forethought and intentionality with which our staff is considering all of the various needs of our students. And also thank you to parents and other community members who participated in the SHAC deliberations over the course of the past year.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. McClain. And thank you to everyone in the SHAC committees. And the drawings were great, the paintings were great. I'd say maybe we challenge the Board of Trustees versus everyone else and see who comes out better. No. Okay, item 6, that was for information purposes. 6A2, report regarding TEA 2023 A through F accountability ratings and 2024 projections. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Mr. President, Board of Trustees. On April 24th, 2025, the Texas Education Agency released the 2023 A through F accountability ratings. Though these ratings reflect performance from the 22-23 school year, TA is now able to publicly release them for the first time and make them available to Texas schools. The 2024 accountability projections will also be presented. Ms. Christian Quintanilla will share more information. This item is for information purposes only. I'd like to just give a little brief history as to what's going on with the accountability system before Ms. Quintanilla makes her presentation. The 22-23 scores were not released immediately at that time because it was under litigation. Several school districts from throughout the state were suing TEA for the accountability system because TA did not give us the guidelines until very late in the year, and some school districts felt that that was unfair to be given the guidelines late in the year, and the kids were almost about to be testing before we found out what the criteria was going to be. So there was a lawsuit. The courts held up the scores and the grades for for the campuses and the district throughout the state. They went into litigation up until April the 24th, last month, when the courts decided that to release the grades and the scores for the school districts and the campuses based on the 22-23 school year. Now, the 2023-2024 scores, they're still under litigation, but we have projections. Ms. Quintanilla and her group and her staff, they do a good job in calculating the scores for each campus in the district. They did the same for 22-23, even when it was under litigation. They're almost like spot on for each campus as far as the scores and the district. Their data is just similar. When they came out, they were identical. So we feel that the 24 preliminary scores are also identical based on the data that they ran. And so we are going to make a comparison with the 23 that have been officially released. The 24 is under litigation, but we are going to show those scores and make a comparison between the 23-24. We feel very comfortable that those projections that we have for 24 are identical once the state releases those scores. We anticipate that may happen sometime during the summer, so that they will allow us to release the 24 scores. Now, for 25, there is no pending litigation, so we are already receiving our scores for the 2025, believe it or not, even though the kids just tested about a month ago or 2 months ago. We've already started receiving scores. So far, we've gotten the high school scores, and we have received some of the middle school scores. We're very pleased that we're seeing a lot of progress now in the 2025, better than 24 and better than 23. So we're very happy as far as what we're seeing with the high school so far and the middle schools. Hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday, or day after that, Thursday, we may get all the elementary scores and the remainder of the middle school scores so that we can start looking at our scores at each campus and district-wide. So just like when we thought we had it all together, there is House Bill 4 out there that may change the whole system all over again. We're going to go from star 1.0 to star 2.0. The 23 and 24 and 25 scores are star 2.0. But House Bill 4 may change the accountability system all over again. And so we may be testing 3 times a year, beginning of year, middle of year, and end of the year, if it passes. And we are going to test less subjects, but more often. It's pretty much what they're looking at. So a lot of changes in the accountability system. And since the last 5 years, there's been a lot of changes and changing the test, changing the rubric on how to score the test. And again, we may see that again for this coming fall. So we will continue to adjust, continue to review our curriculum, continue to make sure that we monitor the instructional time so that we can continue preparing our kids for these assessments. But we're expecting changes once again on the state assessments based on House Bill 4. But we'll keep you posted. We'll keep everyone informed. And of course, whenever time there's a changes to the test, like we anticipate there will be another new test coming up, we have to revise the curriculum. We have to provide more professional development and then readjust our calendars based on those new testing dates that we're going to get, which is going to be now more often, 3 times a year versus only 1 time a year. So it's going to be a game changer once again. And we'll continue to be on top of that and making sure that we align our curriculum, we have our resources that we need, and we provide the trainings that our teachers need, and be able to continue preparing our kids for the assessments that they're going to bring on to us. But for now, we're going to cover the 23 in comparison to the 24. But again, just keep in mind, this may be old data now because things are changing in this new legislative session that we have with new testing coming up for possibly this coming fall. We're going to see new changes to the testing. But I just wanted to say that to the audience and to the board as to what's happening with the accountability system. But Ms. Quintanilla, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hello, I'm Christian Quintanilla. I am the Director for Accountability. So as Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, I will be going over the 2023 A through F accountability ratings, give you a little explanation as to our journey and the accountability system change, as well as the test redesign. And as Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, this is a 2-year delay, so it became public to not only our school systems, but also to the parents and the community. So as you can see here, I would like to start with what is the accountability system? This is the framework for the accountability world here in Texas. And so it is a statewide rating system established by the education agency, TEA, that allows them to evaluate the academic performance of Texas public schools and assign a letter grade. And so anytime you see a letter grade, these are the labels or descriptors of each letter grade. An A signifies exemplary performance, a B is recognized, a C is acceptable, a D is needs improvement, and an F is unacceptable. And so campuses are essentially rated, as well as the district, on 3 domains. Domain 1, which is your academic achievement. However, Domain 2 is composed of 2 domains. Part A, which is your academic growth, and Domain 2B, it is your relative performance, is how you perform relative to the campuses that compared to your economically disadvantaged percentages. And then your Domain 3 is your closing the gaps. This domain is your federal targets. So 70% of the campuses in the district score comes from either the better of domain 1 or domain 2, or the best of domain 1, 2A, or 2B. And then 30% comes from closing the gaps. So I've provided for you the breakdown for each of the elementary and middle school, the high school with CCMR credit, as well as the alternative education campus, which is Lamar Options. Now, as far as the state accountability system and the change over time, as you see here, we have indicated, we have a bar chart where we have the total number of A-rated campuses, B, C, and D over 2022, 2023, 2024. It should be noted, and in 2022, we had the STAR 1.0 assessment, and I will elaborate a little more in the following slides. And then there was a change, like Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, from 22 to 23, and this is where the accountability manual was released about a month, the month that the students were already assessing. So the rules to the test were released while the students were assessing and taking their STAR test. And then we have the STAR 2.0 assessment with new item types, which I will detail in a bit. And then 2024, which was last year spring, we took the STAR 2.0. In 2022, as you can see from left to right, our district rating in 2022 was an A, a 95. We had 19 campuses with an A and 10 campuses with a B. So a total of 29 schools here in McAllen ISD. After the change in the accountability system and the redesign of the test, we had 10 campuses with A's, 14 with B's, 4 with C's, and 1 D. And we had a rating of an 87 as a district. Now, in 2024, our projections, which is, they have not been released, but like Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, we have calculated and we're pretty accurate and we're pretty confident with our results. We had more A school-rated campuses. We have 12. More B-rated campuses, 15. 1 C campus and 1 D campus, giving us an increase from an 87 to a projected 89 for 2024. We should know these scores coming this summer or before the release of 2025. Also, the post-secondary distinction, it should be noted that we have earned that distinction as a district from 22, 23, and 24. And that distinction is a great honor because it is indicative of the high performance of our students. That not only are students passing at the approaches level, which is the minimum level, or the meets, they're passing at the meets and master's level. So we have about 55% of our campuses allowing us to earn that post-secondary distinction here in McAllen ISD. So great work here. Now, the changes in the accountability system, so 22 ratings and 2023 ratings use different methodologies. Particularly, this is where the lawsuit ensued because the TEA system was comparing apples to oranges according to the lawsuit. And in this comparison chart, you can see that in 2022, the accountability, particularly in 2A, which is your academic growth, students are measured in reading and mathematics growth. So meaning successively, meaning that a 3rd grade reading test is compared to a 4th grade reading test, a prior to the current. The same thing for mathematics. So when students take their assessment, and they grow from one performance level to the next, in the past, they would earn a full point, even if they did not pass, if they did not meet. For example, from left to right, as you can see, on my y-axis, you have your did not meets, and then on top, you have your did not meets. So when they met, when you pinpoint those coordinate planes, you'll see that the students would still earn a point, meaning that even though they did not pass, they grew significantly to earn 1 point. Conversely, in the 2023 accountability system, which we're utilizing and implementing now students who did not pass, 0 points. Even though they might have grown significantly within that skill score, that range, the state changed the methodology. And they introduced new language, such as high did not meets, low approaches, and high approaches. So even if a student in 2022 would stay at the approaches level, meaning they passed at the minimum level, they would earn a full point. But in 2023 accountability system, if the students earned a low did not meets, and they earned a low did not meets prior year and then current year, they got half a point, half a credit. So it really did affect the performance and the methodology. And again, this was introduced to the districts and school systems while the students were taking the test already.
If I may add,
Yes,
this
sir.
slide and the next one, I don't think it's in our package because I asked Ms. Quintanilla to explain just the rubric. It was a late request that I made to her today, but I just wanted the board and everyone to understand just how the rubric changed on us and it made it more difficult from STAR 1.0 to STAR 2.0. So you won't see this slide in the next one, but it's just an explanation on the rubric.
Yes, sir, thank you. And the next one is your test redesign. So not only did the accountability system and the methodology of rating and grading our students, in STAR 1.0, I'd like to draw your attention, I'll do the comparison. It was a paper-based assessment, and 100% of it, for example, in reading, it was a comprehension multiple choice. However, in STAR 2.0, which was a 2023 and beyond assessment, it became an online assessment. And that's where we had multiple choice about 75% of the test, and 25% of the test was new item types, meaning that they had, which I'll explain a little in depth in a bit. So then in STAR 1.0, we also had a reading comprehension only assessment, 2017 student expectations, that means the TEKS from 2017, and we had 4th and 7th grade take the writing test. Whereas in 2023, in the STAR 2.0, we had a reading changed to a reading and writing, a reading language arts assessment. So in one test, we had new readiness and supporting designations. We had cross-curricular content connections in reading language arts. That means now we had more informational passages from social studies from that grade level. Whatever the students learned in social studies 3rd grade was reflected in the reading test as well. And then the new item types. As you can see, my list is extensive, but the main one is the extended constructed response, the ECR. So that writing essay, it became text dependent. So not only did they do our students in 2023 and currently have to read a selection, but understand it, and then the prompt is text, it depends on that text, the comprehension, and they have to cite their evidence. Also, short constructed responses were introduced. That means they respond in open-ended. In reading language arts, science, and social studies, we have revise and editing questions, drag and drops, fill in the blanks, and they also have drop-down items. So the test completely changed from one year to the next. And then this one is one of the biggest factors here. Prior, in STAR 1.0, we had human-scored essays. So human that rated all the written responses, whereas in 2023 STAR 2.0, automated scoring engines were used. And as you can see, that prompted the lawsuit because we had a high volume of zeros throughout the state of Texas. So that is the major reform of the assessment. And although all those changes were brought and the methodology changed in the accountability system and the new item types were introduced, I do want to celebrate that our 2023 accountability ratings, in comparison to our Region 1 schools, we are still in the top 4. As you can see, we only had 2 districts in our Region 1 with A's, and that is South Texas ISD and United ISD in Laredo. They earned an A. And we are still, McAllen ISD, we earned an 87B. And we earned our post-secondary distinction. So as you can see, a lot of us in Brownsville, we have Brownsville, Los Fresnos, McAllen, Raymondville, and Webb CISD with 87 Bs. And we are still working hard and doing well. Now, these are the individual scores, as I mentioned earlier, by domain. So McAllen ISD in 2023 earned an 84 in Domain 1, 75C in Domain 2A year growth, even though the methodology changed. As you can see, we're pretty much in the high Bs, but that 2A did affect our overall district performance. And then we have 20 and 2B, the relative performance, where they compare us to our schools with the same population or economically disadvantaged percentage, and then closing the gap. So we earned an 87B in 2023. I do want to celebrate. These are the high schools. They did extremely well. If I want to draw your attention to the far right, you'll see there that Mac High and Memorial, they have high Bs, and the rest of our high schools row, Achieve and Lamar options with A's in 2023. exceptionally well. Now, the middle schools, again, I'd like to draw your attention to the far right. We do have 3 solid A's and 3 solid B's as well. So great work in 2023 for the middle schools. And then our elementaries, a lot of hard work there. But as you can see, we do have some yellows in 2A. The methodology changed in the growth system, especially affecting our elementaries. But overall, we do have, as I mentioned, 4 A's, and we have a lot of B's in elementary, 3 C's, and that year we did earn a D, which we quickly turned around, as you'll see in 2024. Now, these are the 2024 rating projections, and in the rating projections, nothing has been released other than our calculations here in our district. So we did improve in Domain 1 with an 86. We went up 2 points. Our Domain 2A continues to be an area of focus and growth across the board. And then Domain 2B, our relative performance, we improved from an 88 to an 89. Domain 3, we went from an 86 to an 88, and an overall rating projection of an 89 for 2024, improving from an 87 to an 89. So although the test was redesigned and the methodology changed, our district continued to fare well and do very well in 2024. And again, our high schools are projected to have A's, and we do have 189B. So we're almost right there with all our high schools being A's for 2024. Our middle schools continue to do very well, solid A's and improved B's, we want to mention. And lastly, our elementary projections for 2024. Again, we have more A's. We have 5 A's, a lot more B's, only 1 C, and we continue to work with a 69D. It's a different school, a different campus. Nonetheless, still a lot of work and support there for this school year. That concludes my report to the board.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to reorganize the agenda and bring forth item 6C6, discussion and possible action regarding McAllen High School quarterback club donation for the remodeling of the varsity football locker room.
Second.
I have a motion to bring forth item 6C6 by trustee De La Garza Lopez, and a second by trustee Peña De La Garza. No, I'm just kidding. All those in favor, signify by say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0.
We have a pretty
So,
lengthy agenda, so unless y'all wanted to hang out with us.
all right, so 6C6, discussion and possible action regarding McAllen High School quarterback club donation for the remodeling of the varsity football locker room. Dr. Gutierrez.
The McAllen High School Quarterback Club will donate $52,400 to remodel the McAllen High varsity football locker room to improve the campus for our athletes. Mr. Brian McClaney, Director of Athletics, is available to answer questions. Administration is recommending action on this item, but I think we also have Ms. Friedland, our principal from McHigh, and Coach Shelby. If they want to come to the podium and say and give us some more information on this.
Y'all have any questions?
We have members of the community here with the quarterback club, so if you all want to stand. Does anybody want to say anything to us? Come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Morley, and I represent the quarterback club. So over time, the space has experienced noticeable wear and no longer meets the functional and safety needs of our student athletes. The remodel would significantly improve comfort, hygiene, and overall usability, creating a better environment for everyone who uses the facility. Specifically speaking to health and hygiene issues, McHigh has had to disinfect the locker room several times due to staph infection spreading because of the lack of space the current locker room offers the athletes. The quarterback club is prepared to cover all the costs associated with this remodel. We would like to get it started as soon as possible to make sure it's ready for the upcoming football season. This is a really important project to a lot of us, and we'd like to see it started as soon as possible.
I move to approve.
I second.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza and a second by trustee Peña. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all, and
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
to.
Thank
our
you.
community.
Yeah. Thank you to the quarterback club. Good job, coach.
Thank you. Thank y'all very much.
Can I just say also, as a parent of a booster club as well, athletics and UIL, I know how much work our facilities need.
Yes.
And so I'm so grateful for the fundraising and the efforts that are done by our families in our community and local businesses as well. But this is definitely on us. Like, we should provide these facilities for our students, and I know it's long overdue. So I'm grateful for the work that y'all have done because our students and our staff deserve it. So thank you, everybody.
I just want to add that I spoke to a parent, part of the quarterback club this past week, and again, reiterate what Trustee De La Garza Lopez said. We're very, very proud of the work that you've done and all the fundraising efforts. It's going to make a big difference, and I know we're going to have a great year. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
6A3.
All right, item 6A3, the report regarding intention to apply for federal grants. Dr. Gutierrez.
For any federal grants, the districts are required to inform the Board of Trustees of any intention to apply. Dr. De Hoyos, Associate Superintendent for Instructional Services, will share more information, and this item is for information purposes only.
Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. I was just waiting for the
Slide, yeah.
slide to come up. I can go ahead and start. So yearly, districts submit grant applications for the following programs. And we have the grant managers here tonight. If there are any questions after we go through the grants list, I'll name them, and then I'll name the grant managers. And then if you need to ask any questions or clarifying details, they're here to answer any questions.
And just as an information item, these are annual grants that we apply.
Yes.
Is not, they're not new, they're just annually we have to submit the grant applications for these federal grants that every district receives, and this is that's why it's an information item, but it does require just an information to the board that this annual grants is require an application every year.
That is correct, Dr. Gutierrez, and we do have 3 additional grants aside of those yearly grants that we submit. So I'll start with the yearly grants that we submit, and based as a CB local policy, we have to bring it to the board and do a public notice of these federal grants. And so I'll start with the first one, Title I, Part A, Improving Basic Programs. Our grant manager, Dr. Cynthia Olivares. Then we go on to Title II, Part A, Supporting Effective Instruction. Title IV, Part A, Student Support and Academic Enrichment, with also Dr. Olivares. And then the Title I, Part C, Education of Migratory Children. We continue on with the Perkins V, Strengthening CTE for the 21st Century, and that will be covered by Mr. Leo Sainz, the grant manager for that grant. Moving on to Special Education Consolidated Grant IDEA-B Formula by Mrs. Maribel Elizondo, and also Special Education Consolidated Grant IDEA-B Preschool. Then we have Ms. Lisa Lara, Grant Manager for Special Education Consolidated Grant IDEA-B Discretionary Deaf. And I think we have one more before we go on to the others. Yes, the bilingual ones. Those are by the Grant Manager, is Rocio Nava, our bilingual director, Title III, Part A, ELA, and then Title III, Part A, Immigrant. Those will be submitted like we do, like Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, yearly. And then in addition to all these yearly grant applications, we are also going to be submitting one for the fiscal year 25 for COPS School Violence Prevention Program, and it will be managed by Ms. Laura Williams, and the other one for COPS Hiring Program, also by Ms. Laura Williams. And then we'll end our list with the Office of Violence Against Women, fiscal year 2025 grants to prevent and respond to domestic violence, and that will be submitted and managed if we get awarded by Mr. Adrian Garza. So at this time, if you have any questions or you need more clarity on any of these grants, please feel free to ask us, and we're here to answer any questions.
Are these grants, I mean, I see a lot of them go through 2026. Are we expecting cuts at the federal level that would undermine these grants amounts that we're seeking?
Well, right now, they're open, and we are going to be submitting, so we're expecting to receive the award. Hopefully, we don't get cuts, but as of right now, they're open.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 6A4, discussion and possible action to request that administration provide the board with various scheduling scenarios and the accompanying budgetary implications for the board's consideration at future budget workshops for the 2025-26 budget, which may allow the district to implement shorter school days across elementary, middle, and high schools. Dr. Gutierrez?
Yes, elementary and secondary committees were formed to receive feedback regarding the start and end time for both teachers and students for the 25-26 school year. Ms. Jeanette Nino, Associate Superintendent, as well as Dr. De Hoyos, Associate Superintendent for Instructional Services, will continue sharing the presentation for the elementary campuses, the middle school campuses, as well as the high schools. So this item is for discussion and possible action, and let me go ahead and start with Ms. Nino, elementary, and then we'll turn it over to Dr. De Hoyos for the secondary part. Go ahead, Ms. Nino.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to share feedback, as Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, from our elementary schools committee. First of all, I'd like to thank those that have taken time to be part of these committees. There's several individuals from our district network here, and some are present in our audience here today, so thank you for taking time. In addition to our campus staff, which we had representation from our principals at the administration of each of our campuses, as well as teachers. So we did want to ensure, with all the programs and services that we offer throughout our district, that we have representation demographically as well as services across our entire district from both teachers, principals, and our supporting district network. And also to our parents who made time from their schedules at work to also join us to be part of these committees in hearing and providing their feedback as well. So just, framing these conversations for purpose and goal. The why is always important for individuals to understand when we have conversations with individuals from all committees. And so we're in that planning for next school year, and in that just ensuring that our district leadership collaborates in supporting our Board of Trustees to just make sure that they have all the information in making those informed decisions for approving this upcoming budget in June 2025. As well as just ensuring that stakeholders know that they're being heard, that their feedback is important, and specifically this committee met around start and end times for the teacher workday. So information to just, again, provide for background for this committee was why are minutes important for us to consider in being part of this committee. And so information shared with them was how the Texas Education Agency does set required minutes for school districts in Texas, particularly a minimum of 75,600 operational minutes, and a breakdown of what that defines into half-day funding versus full-day funding, because that, again, impacts us whether we go to an early release schedule or to a full-day schedule. And so also earning approved accreditations and recognitions through some programs requires minutes, so we needed to consider those, whether it's through special education, our bilingual department, dual language, and also just other compliance guidelines that we don't want to overlook when we're serving and offering choices to our families at McAllen ISD. Also, in addition to that, we wanted to look at which programs to consider impacting our students in their schedules. So again, dual language program does have required minutes in their time, not just by the program overview, but as well as by subject. Again, our special education students, Each of our special education students and families have an individualized educational program that we follow, and that is based on students' needs. Our dyslexia students also receive services which require 45 minutes per day, and just the frequency of how often they receive those services can range between 3 to 5 days a week. Also, our pre-K funding requires for enrolled 4-year-olds to attend a full day. So just giving them some background information so that they can develop some options for us to look at as we move forward with planning for the next school year. In addition, McAllen ISD now has a board-approved additional day school year calendar. And so where you might see other school districts with 173 days or a little bit less, in order to receive this additional funding from the state as an ADC district, we do need to have a minimum of 180 school days currently for that extra funding to be generated by the district. Also, providing them just what the calendar looks like for next year is important for them to have just as again, some information as they develop their conversations around that day, and currently providing them what the elementary instructional program overview looks like. So this is from pre-K on the left side of that illustration, shows how many minutes students receive in pre-K from reading language arts to math, science, social studies, and then targeted small group intervention time that's offered every day. And on the right-hand side, we see our kindergartner students up through 5th grade and what their minutes look like in aligning those experiences for students as we move forward in each of those content areas as well. The areas in yellow that reteach and enrich, we maximize that time because we don't want any students to miss a strong Tier 1 instruction first teach from their classroom teacher. So if I do have a special service as a student, for example, our students with dyslexia, students with special services, they can then utilize that 45-minute reteach and enrich to have those services so that they don't miss out from their first teach with their classroom teacher. So the discussion groups were set up just to help facilitate time, as well as making sure that we covered questions that we wanted to get feedback on. So we had topics such as employee morale, topics such as student achievement, instructional impacts and equity for all students, family considerations and extracurricular activities, their feedback regarding a teacher's start time, 7:30 versus 7:45, what are the impacts and what is their feedback on that as well? And then a whole group opportunity where we could develop some scheduling options to bring to our school board as well as to Dr. Gutierrez for consideration. They spent about 20 minutes at each of these 4 topic tables, and then we came together again for topic 5 for that scheduling options section. And in giving them some additional information, these were some options that were given to them just so that they could have a frame of reference. So option 1 is currently the school year that, the time we've adopted this school year, including the teacher workday and the student instructional day, which we currently have at 7:50 to 3:30. On the right-hand side, you'll see what that instructional day and teacher workday looks like as it relates to an accountability rating, since that's now been released officially through TEA for the 2023 ratings. Then there was another option, what if we just start, as we've recommended for next year, for 7:45, ending that at 3:45 with 30-minute lunch. That is comparable to a neighboring school district who has a accountability rating of a B as well at an 82. Option 3, having a teacher workday start at 8 o'clock and going to 4 o'clock with 30-minute lunch, which is also comparable to a surrounding school district that has a B rating at an 86. And then a 4th option of a teacher workday starting at 7:45. We had 2 options there that were provided to the committee first, and having the student instructional day start at 8, again comparable to 2 other districts in Region 1, with as well as comparable ratings as Bs, an 87 for Brownsville and an 89 for Sherryland. So that is where the conversation started for the committees to look at, based on some information and data that was given to me to help lead this conversation. And after they got to talking and they got to explore these 4 options and that information, each committee, there were 4 committees that rotated through these areas, they struck out all 4 options. So they said, how about we come and propose some new options for you, Ms. Nino? And we said, absolutely, that is what our time is here together. And that's actually the task at hand, is give us some of your feedback from a campus administrator's perspective, a teacher's perspective, and a parent's perspective. So for transparency, I kept their slides as I typed them that day with the help of Ms. Hinojosa, and they were grouped by colors just so we could help track their time as well as their participation and what they were giving feedback on. So all of those that were participating as far as with the red color, this was their proposal, having the teacher workday start at 7:30, end at 4, and having that 40-minute lunch is really valuable to them because it gives them a little bit of time. With our elementary students, I do have to walk my students to the cafeteria, make sure they get there, and then that still leaves me at least 30 minutes to eat my lunch. And then also keeping the instructional day to 7:50 to 3:30. So that was the red color group's proposal, and again, not considering any of the other 4 that were given to them to start looking at based on information received. Then as we moved to the yellow color group, again, we have teacher, administrators, and parents representative in each of these groups. They also proposed a whole other option different from the 4 we gave them, as well as from the red group. And they said, okay, well, let's do two proposals for the teacher workday, both starting at 7:30 and going to 3:30 with a 30-minute lunch, or ending at 3:40 to give 40-minute lunch, and having the instructional day start at 7:45 and ending earlier at 3. So that was the yellow colored group's recommendation. Moving on to that third group in the green group color area, they also said, we're not considering any of those 4 options that were proposed from the original slide, but we'd like to propose a teacher workday starting at 7:30, ending at 3:30 with a 30-minute lunch, and the student instructional day to be from 7:45 to 3 p.m. And then our last group, the blue color group, also said, we want to strike out those 4 options you brought to us, Ms. Nina. However, we would like to propose a teacher workday of 7:30 to 3:45 with a 40-minute lunch. They said if you actually can extend that 7:30 to 4, that actually gives us 15 more minutes of planning at the end of the day. And then the student instructional day, 7:45 to 3. So overall, this next slide here just summarizes what each of those groups proposed. That is from, again, representation of parents, campus principals, and teachers in each of those committees. And again, I kept their colors aligned so that, again, for transparency, they know that we were bringing what they proposed in those recommendations and not the original ones from the ones I presented to them at the start. And also making sure that what we're presenting to you today on their recommendations aligns with the minutes that we talked about at the start of the slide, with TEA aligned minutes, and then also showing them at the end, what does that give us in time? For example, this year we had 2 extreme weather events, and we did not have to make up that time, thankfully. Our staff got to stay home and take care of what we had to do at home, but neighboring districts had to make up that time. So the closer you stay to that 75,600 minutes, you just want to weigh to see how many available days do we have, which is the last column in yellow, to say, okay, we might span from 3 days to 12 days, and they even said, they asked Ms. Nino, what do you think is that we should go with safely on having available class days? And we say, well, in the traditional calendar, you have 2 weather days, 1 fall, 1 spring, but it's completely up to you. So they didn't want to go lower than 3 on having available days, but also the 7:50 to 3:30 gives us a lot of extra days too. So again, the recommendations provided by the committee for adjusted students' instructional time and end times does align. We wanted to make sure that what we brought to you here this evening does align with the minutes that's required by the state. And just a lot of their feedback, I wanted them to say, okay, what has driven you to giving us these options? I took, again, just minutes and notes on their considerations for us here this evening. And they said, do not adjust the current instructional day, particularly due to scheduling of services via meetings for our students in special ed. They've just completed this year for next year to get our students in special ed services ready to go for the first day of school. And we would definitely have to come back and readjust, not just at an amended ARD meeting, but it would have to be an annual ARD meeting, which means that anyone that services our special ed student would have to participate, and this would have to be done before the first day of school. Another question they asked is if budgetary considerations is what's being discussed here for us tonight, how is this being cost effective if changing the instructional minutes again needs to bring in staff to reconvene all these ARDs? How will the staff be compensated monetarily for this time during the summer? And is there already a budget in place for that to be considered? And then for any change again to the current instructional day, all ARDs would need to be scheduled again before the first day of school. Also, to please keep the 45 minutes in the instructional program day for the reteach and enrich. That is embedded in the school day, so if you're looking at supporting students in an intervention above and beyond that first instructional time, students are present in the daytime to capture them after school, capture them on a Saturday, etc. Before school is not something you can always count on, but R&E, which is called Reteach and Enrich, in that calendar time of the day helps us know that we can work with our students either to make sure that they get additional support, or we can take them to the next level if they're ready for additional depth and complexity in those objectives. Also, transportation was discussed in our committee. So the needs for elementary students are significantly different compared to those in secondary schools. And they talked about the current bus schedule accommodating routes where we only have elementary age students riding at the buses at one time. You don't have a mix of elementary and secondary age students all at the same time. Also, there's transportation provided to students to the Boys and Girls Club, and if that's not offered at their campus, then that would be a challenge. There's also increased bus ridership for students in elementary on the after-school routes, more than in the morning, so more students do depend on the buses after school to get home or to get to that after-school care. And transportation incentive, there is one for our MISD employees, which include our teachers who have their own children enrolled at a school within the same feeder pathway. So I know in speaking with our transportation department, they do help ensure that our staff students, if they're enrolled in that feeder pathway, they make it to the campus where mom or dad or the guardian works. And adjusting the instructional day to end earlier may provide students also with an opportunity to join after-school clubs and activities. So they had a little bit of both in all of their feedback. And then just setting up something for next steps if needed, presenting their options out. We have ran surveys in the last few weeks, particularly one for elementary teachers to say, what is your feedback on the 7:30 versus 7:45 time? So I'll show that here shortly. And the audience here included all of our elementary teachers, pre-K through 5th grade, including our music teachers, our physical education and dyslexia. We also included our instructional coaches and interventionists. So that survey was open Monday, May 19th through the 23rd. And again, that was the design and purpose of that survey. What is your preference? They were given 4 options on the survey. With a 7:30 to 7:45, since again, we get feedback saying there's more showing or saying they want this start time versus another. So we just wanted to offer that opportunity to staff to give their feedback and show data. So this is just a picture of that elementary teachers feedback form survey. They had a selection of, again, a 7:30 versus a 7:45 start time with either a 30-minute or 40-minute lunch. And these were the results at the end of Friday. We had 48.7% of those that responded to the survey saying 7:30 start time with a 40-minute lunch, compared to the second one that, actually there was 2 tied for the next one, the 7:45 with a 30-minute lunch, a 7:45 with a 40-minute lunch, and the least one voted for, so to say, in giving their feedback was the 7:45 with a 40-minute lunch, ending a little bit later, currently on the schedule that we have right now. And now I'll give that time to Dr. De Hoyos.
I'm just gonna, if I can add, Mr. President and Board of Trustees, I think there's a lot of information. This was just elementary that Ms. Eno presented. Can we just keep it as an information item for now, not action until we continue discussing this? Even tomorrow, maybe we can even discuss it in our budget workshop. because it's a lot. And I think we need to, we just need to take all this information. I didn't realize it was so much. Thank you for that report, Ms. Nino, but just, we haven't even touched middle school and high school yet, so if you're all okay with that.
Are you prepared to bring it to us tomorrow?
No, we will continue to have more discussions because this is the first time that all of you see it, like myself.
Yeah,
And I
but-
think we need to
But
be able to.
you'll be able to bring it to us tomorrow at the workshop so that we can discuss it a little further?
Yes, we can continue discussing it further tomorrow and then, and give it a couple of more time, give it some more time.
I
Are
would
you all
like
okay
to
with it?
say, yeah, I think it's great to have more time to think on this and for our community and our teachers to also understand. When I first talked to Dr. Kittleman about this, this was a way where we could give teachers planning time back because we already have the longest days, the longest amount of minutes, the most graduation credit hours requirements, and we all know in this room that we don't pay nearly what our neighboring districts do. So if administration has already alluded to the fact that they don't want to bring the planning period back, this was an alternative of a way to bring that forward. It's very disheartening when I get a phone call after one of these committee meetings where a principal said, oh, so the school board, who are not educators, are telling us how to do our jobs and when we're going to come in. And it's unfortunate that that was brought up because we're just trying to find a way and a solution to this. And if the planning periods are out, then this is a way to have some time back. So if it's a later start date, then you have, or a later start time, then you have time to plan in the morning. Or if we're shutting down earlier, then you have time to plan in the afternoon. And we all know that committees can be made up of however many people to vote the way you want them to vote. So I'm glad that there was an overall survey because things can be skewed to be presented however they want to be presented. It's just unfortunate that it's seen as this, the board deciding this for our staff when we're just trying to find a solution because we have heard all year about the planning periods. And I can tell you nobody on this table wanted to take away those planning periods, but we were in a budget crunch, and here we are. And again, the state and the federal monies don't look like they're going to come in where we need them to come in, and so we can't say that we demand that the planning periods be back. So this was just a way to help the situation along. So I would hope that our principals and our teachers and staff, we're not trying to tell you how to do your job. We know it's so hard and there's so much to do within a day, but there's neighboring districts around us that have dyslexia programs, UIL, sports, athletics, band, and everything, and arts, and everything to fit into the day, and they get it done, maybe not to the caliber that McAllen ISD gets it done, but there has to be a solution, and this was just one idea on how to bring that forward. So I hope that our McAllen ISD family will allow us the grace to really research this and understand it to see what is the best middle ground for everybody financially and for everybody's mental sanity, because our teachers are drowning and they have been reaching out to us daily, if not, hourly, to let us know that they're asking for help. So, thank you.
Thank you. I have a question for legal. So being that the way that the motion was written, it's to put it on or to allow for future discussion in future budget workshops. And given everything that's been said today, what would be the motion that we would be taking today on this?
Should we just table it?
Table it?
Yeah, that'd
Okay.
be the easiest way to go.
I'll make that motion. I move to table.
Okay.
I'll second.
I think that she might have wanted to say something.
Yes. Trustee Dr. Kittleman, do you have something to add?
I don't have anything to add. I agree that I think we should all take a minute to kind of review the presentation and have an opportunity tomorrow to discuss it maybe a little bit more in depth. So, yeah, what do I need to say, Mr. Ball, for the motion to table this conversation?
I already made the motion. Sophia made the motion.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Second.
Thank you.
Got it.
So we already have a second as well by Trustee Haddad. So Sophia made the motion to table and second by Trustee Haddad.
But can can we allow Dr. De Hoyos to finish the middle school and high school before you take action on the table? Or do you need to take action on the table and still allow us to present? I'd like to just see where we're going now with middle school and high school. I know we're not making decisions today, but do we wait till
There's a motion and a second. You can go ahead and vote. It's going to be tabled, and as long as
and then we can
everybody's okay
continue?
with it, you can continue with the
Okay.
presentation. There's no harm in that.
All right, then let's do that.
Okay, so, all those in,
Yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Now, Dr. De Hoyos, you'll continue with the middle school and high school, what has been done up to now. I do want to add what Trustee De La Garza said, my discussions with other trustees has been about how can we find a better balance, how can we be more fair to our teachers because of certain things that we could not afford last year, and how can we maybe give back by looking at the times. So that's always been the intent and the discussions that we've had up here. And that's what the direction was for Ms. Nino and Dr. De Hoyos to put these committees together to see if we could find a balance and a better way to see how we can compensate what we've done in the past because of budget constraints.
That is correct, Dr. Gutierrez, and my presentation part will be short. I did make copies of the full report with all the options that were presented, and today I'm just gonna present the two that each, I can present and then y'all can see it, I think, because then you'll be. Okay, I think that will be best. I won't take long. So, on Friday, a group of parents, teachers, and directors, and two middle school principals came together to review several options of the bell schedule that we had provided. Who was we that we provided? It was Dr. Canales, Ms. Angela Allen, and also content coordinators and myself. We created some options so that we can facilitate the discussion and the conversation and these meetings. And so we presented those. They had the opportunity to discuss the options, the pros and cons. Then you will see it in the full report. And then they were asked if they wanted to create their own option and then also compare it to the current bill schedule that we have. We did invite the parents from the Superintendent Parent Advisory Group and then also the lead teacher representatives, as many as there were available. So for the middle school, we had option one, which was the regular bill schedule, the current one that we have right now. The committee likes this schedule because they're used to it, and then also it provides it keeps the integrity of the 9 periods with the block scheduling. And for middle school, we have block scheduling for our RLA and our math classes. Also, there's no need to change any students' 504 plans or schedule services through the ART, like Ms. Nino explained, that we will have to go and ART all those students. And then the con here is that the first period is too long, so they would like to adjust, and they created their own, and that's what I'm gonna show you in the next slide. I do want to put the statement here that the committee recommends that we adhere to the current schedule and for the 25-26 school year and proceed with option 2 for the 26-27 school year, simply because it's too short of a turnaround, and also because of the arts that they will have to go and redo those. So option 2, it was created by the committee, like I said, and this option, the start time will be at 7:55 and end time at 3:32. They did shorten some of the periods, and then they wanted to keep the integrity to the 9 periods again. So here are the pros and cons. The committee prefers this option over the current schedule. They want to keep the integrity of the 9 periods, which allow time for the block courses. They can start tutoring extracurricular activities earlier because the teachers will be, the students will be finishing the instruction earlier, and those that need to stay, they will stay. for tutorials or extracurricular activities, and then teachers will have time to collaborate or plan after students leave. The con is that we'll have to go back to arts for all the students because of the shortening of the periods, and we would need more after-school programs since students will be out earlier and maybe parents can come that early for them, those that get picked up. Again, the committee wanted me to propose that they want to adhere to the current schedule for the 25-26 school year and proceed with option 2 because this is the one they like the best for the 26-27 school year. So that was middle school. Then on Thursday, the day before, we met with high school, and again, it was all the high school principals. We also had their teacher lead representative join them. The master schedulers were there as well, and then content coordinators, and you can see the directors that were there also in the previous group. And again, they presented the current schedule. They were presented with several options, but then they were asked to select at least 2 options of all of those options that they reviewed. They submitted option 1 as the current 24-25 schedule, and their the benefits for it is because it's a 50-minute class period, and they're good for the instructional time that they need at the high school, considering the career and technical education courses that they have also, and that provides or allow the travel between campus to campus for students to be able to participate on the multiple programs that we offer at McAllen ISD, along with the career and technical education courses that we offer here at McAllen ISD. And some of these courses are offered only at one high school or one campus, and so we have several travels, trips that go through daily. Mr. Barnhart joined us in the meeting, and he says that he has over 300 trips throughout the day. So that's what was the benefit of the 50-minute period. Also, there's no changes to the art schedules for all students, and it will not impact any program, like I said earlier. They really don't find any con, only that it's long. But again, the committee recommends that we stay with the current schedule, and if possibly we can get the planning period back. That is what they recommended. Option 2, they created this option, and it's very similar to our current schedule, only that we will start earlier and end earlier. So again, very similar to the previous one. We stay with the 50-minute class period with all the benefits that I mentioned earlier, and also no changes to the art schedules for all students. Will not impact any programs. We will have a longer break, breakfast break, which much need the breakfast period to 10 minutes. And then cons is very similar to our current schedule. They couldn't really come up with something more innovative, but the con will probably be the shorter lunch period. So that is my report, and this is the full report with all the options that were presented and discussed, and we will email it to you, Dr. Kittleman.
We'll send you everything, and that way you have time to review it all. We just need more time. This is the first time everybody sees it.
Yeah. Right, and I would just like to make a quick comment, just to piggyback off of Trustee Del Garza Lopez. So I brought this item to discussion because, again, trying to give our staff a win, and I've been looking into so many different districts and minutes and everything under the sun. So my thinking, which I brought up last year during the planning period discussion, is similar to the planning period. So currently, secondary students graduate with a minimum of 32 credits. Oftentimes a lot more, right? Because they get credits early on and everything else. The distinguished level, the top level, is 26 credits. So we have a lot of room for, extra. And my thinking is, if we were to consolidate our day, consolidate certain courses, anything extra, trim the fat a little bit, our students will still graduate at top level, still get into top schools, still get quality education. However, less of a workday for them, giving them more time for extracurricular and things like that after school. And then our staff can have more time to plan, because now that we have implemented, or we've removed the planning period to add a 7th course, some staff members are teaching, 4 or 5 different preps. It's getting really, really challenging. So I think the board's intention, or my intention in bringing this to the table, is just to discuss what are our options. This is a non-monetary incentive, right, to incentivize and attract and retain high-quality staff that we have, while also taking the load off of our students, which I know is at a very high level right now. So that was my thinking. I really appreciate the presentations, and I know we can discuss it more tomorrow, but just for clarification there for everyone watching.
And again, we do have our committee members here, including some of our parents, and if anybody wants to answer any of the questions, they're willing to.
Thank you.
I think we all just need more time to review this and continue to look at it, okay? But thank you all, committee members and parents who are here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on, item 6B1. We have report regarding 2024-2025 McAllen Independent School District Professional Employee Opinion Survey. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Qualdrix, along with CES A6 and McAllen Independent School District, conducted an employee opinion survey. Dr. Canales, Chief of Human Resources Officer, will share more information, and this item is for information purposes only. Dr. Canales?
I'd like to ask Twyla to head up there with me to the podium, and then any other JPCC representative.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, the school board. Thank you so much. I am Twyla Figueroa. I am the chairman of the Joint Professional Consultation Committee, which is made up of the 3 professional organizations within our school district. And I want to thank the committee for taking the time to develop this. The whole executive committee was in the development part. So then our timeline for development. We started with the planning, which was define the purpose and objectives, identify the audience, our timeline. We used a new survey platform, which was Qualtrics and CESA 6. And our highest priority was to keep the confidentiality of each person taking the survey. So then we looked at drafting our survey questions, the questions targeting specific areas, focused questions on actionable data. We ensured unbiased questions, and we reduced our number of questions. Our old survey had about 70 questions, and we reduced that down to 35 to prevent survey fatigue. Then we've moved into our finalizing of the survey, and we used a pilot survey with our executive board. We gathered feedback and made necessary adjustments. Then we launched our survey. It was sent to the professional staff and instructional assistants on March 10th, and it was closed on April the 1st, 2025. Then we reviewed our survey results, and the reviewed survey results were then distributed to our campus principals on May the 16th, 2025. And what we hope to do is for continuous improvement, to use the survey data to implement improvements or make changes as needed. Are there any questions about the development? Okay, I'm going to turn it over.
At this time, I just want to thank the JPCC. I think, I'm not sure how it was done in the past, but they were a really collaborative group where they helped kind of develop the questions. So if any member from the audience is in part of the JPCC, I think I see Gloria, and everybody else is watching from home, I think. Right, so I just want to thank them for helping develop the survey, right? So it was one that it was very collaborative, and they took a big role and part in helping develop those questions. On the next slide, we had a total of 1,421 surveys that were taken. Out of those 1,421, only 1,261 were fully completed, so we took those 1,261. Here's a slide for you, just a total number of job descriptions that are there, right? You can see 803 teachers filled it out, also 155 paraprofessionals, and the rest were scattered amongst administrative staff and teams. There's a total number of survey responses by location and by description. We do have that there, so if you look at it, for example, to your left, Alvarez Elementary, 19 filled it out. If you keep on going all the way down the middle, you see the high schools and the middle schools, and then all the way to the elementary to the far right there as well. So here's the overall job satisfaction survey. On this one, the survey that went out, the committee felt that it was important to go over safety, student academic achievement, school culture and environment, job satisfaction and support, work-life balance and well-being, communication and collaboration, professional development, student behavior and discipline, compensation, and of course, school board and superintendent. So those are the categories that everybody was asked to participate in. Out of those categories there, if you take the totality of it, it went from a 3.18 to a 4.30, and the average there was a 3.74 from a strongly agree to a strongly disagree. So it was a 5-point Likert scale. The next slide is the job satisfaction indicators. These were the top 5 choices that staff said was important to them in the workplace. So number 1 was compensation and benefits, which I know we're working really hard on that one right there. Next one is job security, followed by work that is meaningful to me, safe working conditions, and then importance of relationship with coworkers. Now, under the topic of job satisfaction, support, and growth, there was questions there that were asked, right? From I received timely feedback of my performance to my immediate supervisor, all the way down to have the support to make my work life manageable. The average rating there was a 3.78 to a 4.17. And if you take that average there, it totaled a 3.97. So almost at an agree there on job satisfaction and support. When you look at communication and collaboration, those are the questions that were asked there. Provided ample opportunities to collaborate with my colleagues. I feel comfortable expressing my ideas and thoughts and concerns to campus administration. The average rating there was from a 3.84 to a 3.95. And it came out to a 3.89, just right below the agree there. Under professional development, right, it was important to look at how they're doing professional development here in our district, right? So the professional development helps me improve my skills as a teacher. Another one was I am encouraged to pursue opportunities for career advancement. That one average range was 3.77 to a 3.95. And that came out to a 3.86 overall. On the next part was work-life balance and well-being. We felt this was also an important question to ask on how people are taking care of themselves in the workplace and at home. So I feel supported by campus administration when needing to take time off. 2, I am able to maintain a healthy work-life balance. That range went from a 3.61 to a 4.28. The average rating there was a 3.94. Then we have the teaching and learning environment. This was on student behavior and student discipline. This one ranged from a 3.59 to a 3.85. The average rating, if you average that up, it was a 3.72. The next piece there is on school culture and environment. This asks questions from the school actively works to promote the social and emotional well-being of students, to staff morale at the school is generally positive. The school fosters a positive school culture. This one ranged from a 3.79 to a 4.15. That was almost at a 4 at a 3.97. And the next one is on student academic achievement. This one ranged from a 4.10 to a 4.26. The average rating there was a 4.18. Right, so they discussed, I believe students at the school are receiving a high-quality education, to the curriculum is effectively designed to meet the needs of all students. That's an average rating there, 4.18. This next one here is on leadership, human resources, and safety, school board and superintendent. This one ranged from a 3.07 to a 3.25, so we came in right at a 3.16 average. And then on school safety, ranged from a 4.23 to a 4.37. The average rating there was a 4.30. And the questions went on to ask about compensation. This one ranged from a 2.43 to a 4.11. The first one there was information about my employee benefits. It's easy to access, so they were very happy with being able to find stuff on the website about their employee benefits. The next one was my total compensation, salary and benefits. That one average range of a 3.27. And any questions at all? This is the first time we use this survey, so we don't have any data really to compare it to. So next year, we'll do some color graphs that show from 24-25 to 25-26, how the ratings went up. We are looking forward to, of course, we want to definitely hit the 4s. Anything, Twyla, I know that you had mentioned in our meetings that this survey really came out to be, like, I don't want to say surprising, but the results were pretty confident. I don't know if you want to kind of talk to that a little bit.
When we were looking at that, we were kind of comparing to old surveys that had generally the same type of questions and everything. And items that were low have been low in the past. But some of the things that had been low have actually improved and come up higher. So that was very, we were happy with that. So, the ones that were low, like the compensation, has traditionally always been low. So we weren't surprised by that. But some of the others, the well-being and the safety issues being so much higher, that we were really proud of and very happy with the improvements there.
Thank you.
Do you have any takeaways of major items that we need to focus on to help our staff?
I think some of the big ones is the rocks we're already kind of trying to work on already is definitely compensation and benefits. I know we're trying to do that, and you'll see that tomorrow in the budget workshop as well, right? We're talking about different stipends, we're talking about different compensation, we're talking about, hopefully, based on budget, based on what the state does too. There's proposals for 2%, 3%, and 4%, so we know we're definitely trying to close those gaps. I know we did that a little bit last year. And the goal, I think, if I'm not speaking for Dr. Gutierrez, but the goal of the board and you all is to really try to close those gaps. I think that's what we're trying to do with these meetings that we're having. Twyla, any?
The compensation is the one that stood out the most, and we know that. And so hopefully we can, continue to right-size the district and continue to increase our salaries and our compensation for our employees. That's always going to be one of the biggest priorities that we should have to stay competitive and keep the highly qualified personnel by offering competitive salaries. We're moving the needle, but we need to continue moving that needle better.
I think one thing we're really proud of is when you look at the overall surveys and you look at, when you're going to school and you're talking with your professors about school and when you're going to superintendent classes, the main thing that we talk about is what are the three most important things. What came out on top was student safety, student academic achievement, followed by school climate and culture. So we thought those were really three positive things that came out really on top to show that we are moving the needle in supporting staff and students and the culture of our campus and climate in our district.
Okay. Thank you.
May I ask, were there comments allowed on this survey?
Yes, ma'am. There were open-ended comments. There were 2 of them. Twyla can kind of speak to that, or I can speak to it. I know Twyla likes these 2 questions that were asked.
This year,
That's
instead
fine.
of...
I'm just curious about sorry, go ahead.
This year, instead of just having a comment section, we asked 2 questions. And the first one was, what makes your campus a great place to work? So that they could put all the things that their campus is doing well. The second one was, what are things that your campus could improve on? So that they would give them solutions to help support those things. So we wrote them in a very positive light so that we could get some constructive criticism, but also solutions to the different problems within each campus.
I appreciate that. I think one that I'm focused on right now is the lowest one regarding the school board and the superintendent. And I was just wondering if there was any constructive feedback or if you guys had any insight into why that one was rated so low. I mean, I know it's very awkward right now because you're speaking to the school board, but I think we'd like to know. Well, I'd like to know.
I mean, I think some of it, when you look at the open-ended questions, those were given to the campuses to look at that with their JPCC committee and their site-based team. A lot of it, I would say, is compensation, right? That's one that staff really wants is to be, you know, with the market rates. I know we're trying to work hard on that one there. You know, nothing was that I saw in there was anything like towards individuals, right? That we saw there, but it's just a lot of it is a compensation. Some of it could have been other things as well.
Okay, just curious if you had any more insight into that. And I don't know, again, Twyla, like you said, traditionally maybe this one is always around that rating, but just curious.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Item 6C1, report regarding the financial and investment report for the quarter of January to March 2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will present the financials and investment report for the quarter of January through March of 2025. Go ahead, Ms. Garcia, and this is for information purposes only.
Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez, Mr. President, and members of the board. Today we have the financial investment report, and as I pull up this report includes two key components. The first one is a summary of the general fund budget to actuals through March 31st, 2025, and it also has a quarterly investment report for the same period. When we look at the general fund budget to actuals, the district approved general fund revenue budget is $251,120,981, and you can find that on column B of the report as shown. As of March 31st, 2025, the district had received about 66.5% of that, which is a total of $167,019,649, which is found on column D. Year-to-date expenditures totals were $162,721,951. This resulted in a positive margin of $4.2 million, meaning that the revenues exceeded the expenditures for this period. This reflects normal mid-year timing. For example, most of the property tax collections are received by January 31st, contributing to a higher percentage of revenue early in the fiscal year. The state foundation program payments continue monthly, and we will reconcile in the settle up in September. In regards to the quarterly investment report, this is for the period of January through March 2025. As of March 31st, 2025, the district had $179,514,907 in invested funds. The interest earnings totaled $1,915,028 in interest income for this quarter. The weighted average yield to maturity for the portfolio was 4.26. As with all the investments, they remain in compliance with the Public Investment Act and the district's investment policy. We do manage this portfolio conservatively with a focus on safety, liquidity, and competitive returns. That concludes the financial and investment report.
Thank you. Okay. Any discussion? No discussion. Moving on. 6C2, report regarding the delinquent tax collections for the period of January 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2025. Dr.
Ms. Kelly Salazar, a partner from the firm Lineberger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson, LLP, will present the delinquent tax collections report for January 1st through March 31st of 2025. This item is for information purposes only. Ms. Salazar, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, President Rivera, and esteemed members of the board. I'm happy to present your delinquent tax collection report for the period of January 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2025. As always, our delinquent tax collection on behalf of McAllen ISD focuses on two basic premises. The first is to collect from the individual taxpayer first, and secondly, use the tool of litigation only as the final option to collect. During this quarter, we completed one demand mailing over 1,300 statements to delinquent taxpayers within McAllen ISD. We made or received over 1,000 phone calls. We received over 104 payoff requests, and we knocked on 175 doors of taxpayers in this area, educating them and informing them about their tax delinquency and doing our best to get them into our office to work out a payment agreement. Regarding litigation, during this period, we filed 29 lawsuits. We disposed of 18. We filed 2 tax warrants, and 2 properties were sold, reflecting over $25,000 resulting in payment to the district. And we have 268 lawsuits currently pending involving McAllen ISD. On the next page, you will see our collection highlights. This quarter compared to the same quarter last year, and you'll see our collections are up. We collected over $252,000 in base tax, over $143,000 in penalty and interest, and we collected over $205,000 that were issued back to taxpayers for refunds due to protests with the appraisal district or receiving a homestead exemption and refunds being issued back to the taxpayer. And you'll see, I want to highlight again, I know I've highlighted this to the district before, but the refunds this year in this quarter are double what they were last year during the same quarter. So it's something we're keeping a close eye on and making sure you're informed about it. Looking forward to the future, we will continue advocating for the district through litigation as necessary. We are representing the district involving any bankruptcies involving delinquent taxpayers in this area, continuing our mail program, and placing properties up for sale on an as-needed basis if a taxpayer is making little to no effort to make their payments to the district. But that concludes my delinquent tax collection report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. All right. Discussion? No? Okay, thank you, Ms. Hess.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, 6C3, discussion and possible action of the McAllen Independent School District April budget amendment for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration is recommending the approval of the April 2025 budget amendment for the 24-25 fiscal year. Ms. Lorena Garcia, Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will present more details. Administration is recommending action on this item. Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
This month's amendment reflects updated revenue and expenditure data based on the student attendance, program funding, and financial activity through the 5th 6 weeks. The state aid summary for the 5th 6 weeks, the district's total state aid increased in general by 1.1 million. This increase came from the restricted program areas, including special education, which was 1.8 million. College, career, and military readiness increased by 612,700. Early education allotment, 217,560, and career and technical education increased by $306 and $8. At the same time, the unrestricted state aid, Fund 199, did decrease by 1.2 million. This occurred because while the unrestricted went down, the state offset and exceeded that reduction through increased funding in the restricted program areas. We will bring forth another amendment next month once the final 6 weeks attendance data is finalized. Other revenue adjustments you see in the expenditure section below. Interest income, still with the revenue, interest income increased by 347,845. We do have some stronger investment portfolio performance. We are using these funds to cover the IRS arbitrage payment that we had mentioned at several board meetings back. Insurance proceeds were received in the amount of $220,183. This was for a prior windstorm damage, and we will be using those for the lease payment for the staff laptop refresh. Federal revenue increased by 29,643. This was for the qualified school construction bond subsidy, and this was also applied to the IRS arbitrage. TRS on behalf contributions increased by 200,000. These are recorded both as a revenue and a matching expenditure cost of functions, and they are non-cash entries. They do not affect our fund balance. In the capital projects section, the capital projects fund also reflects an increase of 66,728, covering part of the same IRS arbitrage payment. This portion was funded by capital-related interest income and eligible subsidy funds. And that concludes the budget amendment presentation. If you have any questions.
Yeah, I have one question, Ms. Garcia. What is the driver of that Fund 73 shift in Function 11 for special education?
The driver is, we have had an increased amount of students identified in special ed, so that boosted our numbers in terms of the state funding.
So more students receiving services, so we receive
Correct.
greater amount of the multiplier effect
Yes, sir.
against the basic allotment. Thank you.
I have the same question, but on the debt service, why did that increase by 600,000?
Let me see. The debt service, on the debt service, the 600,000, it was a revision. Do you have that one? The debt service was, let me see.
I think it's down a few more pages in the capital project section.
I'm sorry, I'm getting cross-eyed here with the little numbers. 597, 671.
What page is that on?
Yeah, we may have to get back to you on that one.
It's on 218 of the board packet, I believe.
May I go upstairs, I can see like.
Come on.
The debt service may be because of the defeasance where we're collecting more from the,
Just the 600 increase.
the revision. Because that's what the collections.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd like to get the backup for that, and then we can provide an update tomorrow if that's okay as part of the budget presentation.
That's fine with me.
Just so I can give you the exact accurate.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions?
I move to, was that?
No more questions.
It's
We're still gonna
recommended
cover
action.
capital projects?
I'm sorry?
Are you still gonna cover capital projects?
Yes, I covered the capital projects. It was, really, it was just the increase in interest earning revenues. And that was used to pay for the arbitrage.
So there was an increase on that one.
I move to approve if there are no further discussion. Robert, you
It
good?
was a payment to the IRS required, it's on the last page, on function 71. Increase to the payment for IRS required under federal arbitrage rules was related to the maintenance tax note because we earned more interest than what we were allowed to earn on that, so we had to pay back to the IRS some arbitrage, and we used some of that from interest earnings that we received on the maintenance tax note to be able to pay back, on the capital funds, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion.
Wait
by
a second.
Trustee Peña, a second by Trustee Carrion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, 6C4, report regarding Skyward cumulative and parchment migration. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, the district will complete the migration from current Skyward 2.0 SMS student information system to Skyward cumulative with a full go-live scheduled for July 14, 2025. The migration to Skyward cumulative will meet the district's priorities and goal by significantly enhancing system accessibility, strengthening cybersecurity through a modern cloud-based architecture, and providing robust real-time analytics. Skyward Cumulative will position the district for long-term scalability and sustainability, ensuring our student information infrastructure remains adaptable and future-ready. Mrs. Judith Cascamilla, Executive Director for Technology, Ms. Angela Allen, Director of Student Operations, will present this report. This item is for information purposes only. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, President Rivera, trustees. We're going to go ahead today and give you some information on our Skyward cumulative upgrade and our parchment migration.
The new Skyward Cumulative will allow us to have a more enhanced system availability. And the reason for that is it's hosted and managed offsite. So that makes us a lot more viable, more resilient, because if ever we have any issues here, we're able to enroll students. And this same hosted and managed solution is on our ERP system, which is our employee system. So that means that we'll always be able to hire people, we can always pay people, and the same thing with students. We'll be able to enroll them, we'll be able to create grades, anything that we need to do, we can do it at any time, anywhere. So that's the reason why we are moving over to this system. And of course, it has improved functionality, there's built-in analytics, and it actually empowers our users to be able to create their own dashboards on the fly. So it's a great system to move forward on, and we're really excited to migrate over. I'll go ahead and hand it over to.
Thank you. So as you can see there on the left, that is our current system that we're utilizing. And this is an upgrade, so we're moving from Skyward to Skyward, just a different version of Skyward. And as you can see on the right, as Ms. Escamilla mentioned, we have much greater improved analytics and data visibility. And there are quite a few of us here in the district that are team leaders on this project. You know, we have great leaders who are taking the lead on certain areas of this migration. And you can see there the people who are representing the district as we move forward with moving from our current version of Skyward into the new cumulative system. Go on to the next. So as we are preparing for this migration, there are several things that we need to make sure are ready before we could fully migrate to this system. And you can see some of the checklists there that we have gone through. So we looked in general at the product to see if it met our district's needs, which it does. We have to look at our data in the current system as it migrates over into the new system to make sure that the data is migrating over cleanly. We also have training that is available to us as district leads, and then we pass that training along to district staff as well. We look at the different modules that are available to make sure everything that we have in the current system is available and ready to go in the new system. And then we've created a timeline for our migration as well. So as part of the project planning, we have regularly scheduled meetings with our Skyward consultant, where we look at data integration with the cumulative system. We also look at integrations when it comes to third-party vendors. I know many of our teachers utilize Clever for students and teachers to access our instructional materials. So we want to ensure that that third-party integration is working well as we're migrating to the new system and upgrading onto all of the features. We look at the configurations to make sure that what staff are used to seeing in the current system, they're also going to see in the new system, and making sure that our security for our users is built around specifically what they do and tailored to their needs, as well as participating in the meetings and trainings that Skyward offers to us. We also have training and support for our users. We have various training resources available to them, including the Skyward-provided Professional Development Center, where we have assigned out different webinars, if you will, and different videos for them to watch. We also have ongoing support through the team leaders, district team leaders, and our district team leaders have ongoing support through the Skyward as well. We also look at the training and support based on roles and responsibilities. So based on if you're an assistant principal at a campus, what kind of training and support do you need, versus if you're a teacher at a campus, what kind of training and support will you need. We have dedicated web pages within the district, whether it's SharePoint, the intra-district web pages, as well as forward-facing web pages for community. And again, the district leads receive support from Skyward, and our district leads serve as support for the rest of our community. And finally, we have developed how-to guides depending on the roles and responsibilities of our various staff members and community members that will be rolled out as well, so everyone knows how to utilize the system efficiently. And part of our ongoing supports is we have dedicated task force members. We have an administrative access, those are our campus users, and we also have a teacher access task force group. The responsibilities and roles of the task force are to evaluate the system and provide feedback if there's anything that's not working in the system or not currently functioning as they're used to seeing it in the system. Then the district leads report that back to Skyward so that Skyward can make those enhancements. We simulate different tasks, so we'll ask the users, okay, what is it that you do on a daily basis? Try to replicate that in this new system and provide us feedback on that as well. We also ask that those people on the task force be the expert at their campus. So if they are a teacher on the task force, then they are the people that other teachers are going to go to and look for whenever they have questions. All right, so there's just a little picture of the task force meeting. We have had several meetings of the task force. We've had 4 sessions with the administrative task force, and we've had 3 sessions with the teacher task force. Here are some dates for our timeline, some important dates to make note of. On June 10th, we will close Skyward online registration to families. So if families are out there that still have not re-registered with us, now is a good time to do that. We will be closing that on June 10th, and so we want to make sure that anyone who hasn't registered, that they can go ahead and get registered in the current system, and we will reopen registration later on, but it will be in the new system. So we encourage everybody to register right now in the current system.
I have a question about that. So we're closing it on June the 10th, and do you have a date to reopen it?
Yes.
June the 25th, is that?
July 15th, we'll reopen.
Wow, that's a big gap, and I think that the potential for parents to get frustrated and say, you know what, I'm just gonna go somewhere else exists, and Lisa, don't do it.
Do we have a backup for that?
We have that
That's a
covered.
good point, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, so we looked at the historical data for registration and re-registration, and I'll start out by saying that our re-registration, so our current families that are with us, we are at 98% re-registered right now. There are just about 400 kiddos that are still pending, so that number is shrinking by the day. When you look at new registrations and enrollment, our office, of course, will be available to assist parents. Our number is everywhere. But historically, the number of families accessing for new registrations between this time period is less than 20. It's very, very, very small.
Okay. I want to get that out there. So if you haven't registered, register.
Yeah.
Yes,
ASAP.
please. And you can always reach out to student outreach, and they will be more than happy to assist anyone who hasn't re-registered, even if it's between those dates.
I just wanted to let everybody in the public that's watching know, tell your friends that if you can't register, call me.
Yes.
Don't go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you. And then a communication plan, student operations is working closely with student outreach and strategic partnership with which is Ms. Lisa Cavazos standing behind me, on making sure parents have some information on the webpage when it comes to this upgrade into the new system. We'll have some video instructions, some newsletters, and some social media postings will go out as well. And we are providing campuses with that information so that they can pass that along to their families.
Yeah, I have a quick question on that. So who are the triage specialists when a parent gets frustrated with the new system and they call the campus and say, I can't use the new, does every campus have somebody that's going to pick up the phone and is ready to walk them
Our
through that?
campuses definitely have someone who's ready and available,
Yeah.
and as well, student outreach does an excellent job at assisting parents with registration, just like they do right now. So whoever they're used to they're used to contacting. So we have campus staff. We also have strategic partnership student outreach, who is always assisting parents, and they can always call Department of Technology. They have techs to assist parents with that as well at the campus.
At the campus, great. And not just for the registration, but the first time using the new app.
Absolutely,
and will parents have to download the new app?
Yeah, so great questions. Thank you so much for asking. So it's going to be exactly the same app. The only difference is when we go live, parents will need to delete the app and then just reinstall. So that is all that's required. It will be the same. So we're trying to make this as smooth a transition as possible, because we know that, moving into anything new, like when you get a new phone, it's difficult at first, right?
That's right.
Change is difficult. So
We don't know our passwords, right? They're saved, and so just
yes,
yeah.
so student outreach can assist you, and your child's campus can assist you as well. So yeah, we'll get you all taken care of.
Are we able to send, to his point, push notifications, like when parents get to open up and say, you have to delete this, install the new one?
So we will be sending out communication to remind parents to delete the app and reinstall. Yes, that's part of our communication plan for parents. Great questions, thank you.
All right.
And we have one just last slide, I think. Well, a couple of other slides. So this is just a sample of what the family access will look like. As you can see, it's a little different. It's more tiles now than actual just modules and sections from what you're used to. So just a sample of what that's going to look like in family access. And then the last piece of information is the Need My Transcript migration. So Need My Transcript was bought out by Parchment. So we are migrating from Need My Transcript to Parchment. That is not my choice. That is because they were purchased. And so we are fully ready and capable for migrating from Need My Transcript to Parchment. Our users should see very little difference, because Need My Transcript has been working directly with Parchment. So if you'll go to the final slide there. We do have a last day to request transcripts for the class of 2020 to the class of 2025, which is June 18th. And a reminder always goes out to parents, because we do close transcript requests when we're not in office. So I think families are pretty used to seeing that. The only difference here is that's going to be the last day to request transcripts for those who are used to receiving transcripts for free, right? Because we do offer our students free transcripts up through after 5 years of graduation, right? So now with the new migration, students who are current students will still receive transcripts, but those who are no longer students, no longer current students, those who have graduated, there will be a fee that is applied to those transcripts. All right, and then we will have a new link that will go live on July 14th. That will be the Parchment link.
Awesome.
Parents are already asking.
Yeah.
So I'm answering as you're going. Thanks.
Thank you. And then you can always direct them to student operations or student outreach, and we're always happy to assist parents with any questions they might have.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Item 6C5, discussion and possible action on the application to TEA for the optional flexible school day program for the 2025-26 school year. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration is recommending for the approval of the optional flexible school day program application for the 25-26 school year. Ms. Elizabeth Cavazos, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Student Outreach, is available for questions, and administration is recommending action on this item.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Peña.
I do have one question on this.
Go for it.
What is our chronic absenteeism rate in the district right now?
That is a great question. So our chronic absenteeism, so when we look at students who are absent more than 10 days at a semester or 18 days overall, is under 10%. It's
Great.
pretty low. When we look at the number of students that are eligible for this program, it's a little bit different because we're looking at all absences regardless if they're excused or unexcused. And so at any given time, about 1,000 students could be on this program, 1,500 students could be on this program. We try to focus our attention on students who, it's not a one-off situation, right? So it's not they had an illness, they had some absences, but otherwise they're great. We really are focusing our attention on students who just have a true challenge getting to school on a regular basis.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm glad to hear that it's below 10% for the chronic absenteeism rate, especially given some of the trends in other parts of the state and other parts of the country post-COVID. So, great work.
Sure.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Peña, second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 6C7. Discussion and possible action on 2024-2025 additional days school year waiver. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, due to weather events on January 21st, 2025 and March 28th, 2025, the district needs to submit the additional days school year waiver to Texas Education Agency to meet the required 180 days of instruction. Ms. Angela Allen, Director of Student Operations, is available to answer any questions if needed. Administration is recommending action on this item.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Peña, second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Item 6C8, discussion and possible action on request for proposal number 2025-1037, property and casualty insurance. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration solicited proposals for property and casualty insurance. We have Mr. Andres Silva, Director of Employee Benefits and Safety / Risk Management, is available to answer any questions. Administration is recommending action on this item, and this is a two-part action item. However, I'd like to have Mr. Silva come over to explain to the board the two proposals that were submitted and the recommendation we're making and why. Go ahead, Mr. Silva.
Yes, sir, thank you. As Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, we did have, for the first time in several years, two property proposals to consider. We had a proposal that had limits to what we currently have, in essence, a renewal as current, but we also had a proposal with additional limits, some all the way up to the full insured property value. So a little bit of background on that. So the district has about $700 million in building and contents values. For the past several years, it was difficult to get insurance up to those full insured values. We've been seeing limits that are lower and lower, deductibles higher and higher. So we were kind of happy to see that now we had an option to consider that at least in certain areas, we had total insured values. It wasn't across all property and all limits and all coverages. However, we did have some higher limits. Now, in terms of the cost, just like in our auto or in our own home, higher limits, lower deductibles come with higher cost. And that was the case here. So while we did have options for all those limits, it came at a higher cost. And ultimately, the highest ranked vendor is basically the current coverage at the current limits at the lowest cost of the two. So we are recommending the award on the property side to the Montalvo Insurance Group as presented there in your table. That's the property. On the casualty side of the lines, we only received one proposal. So we're recommending that one vendor, which happens to be also the Montalvo Insurance Group.
Why do you think we only got one proposal?
So I can't tell you specifically, I can tell you historically some of the feedback we get. Not enough market out there. So perhaps somebody went out to the market and couldn't get access. Wasn't enough competition out there. We've heard in the past where they have receive proposals, but then they compare it to what we have currently, and then make a decision that, oh, well, we're not as competitive, and they don't bid at all. So it could be a combination of things. Ultimately, we don't know exactly why we don't get the greater number of proposals. It just varies year to year.
I have a question. Is there a minimum that we are required to be insured for? Because just looking at it, 75 million, about 10% of what we have in our district. And so I'm looking at it, we're definitely undervaluing, I guess, what's going on there. It's 10%, and it's underinsuring ourselves for that.
Sure. So there is no minimum. I think the requirement is just that we, yourself, have to be comfortable that we have adequate coverage.
Sure.
So there is no minimum.
Yeah.
As I said, prior to this particular RFP, we were taking what we could get because we were only getting one proposal. And as I said, the limits were actually coming down, and deductibles were going up and up. So we couldn't be not insured, so we were taking what was available to us.
Sure.
In terms of the limits that we have now, we have to consider, obviously, the risk. When we look at named storm is probably our biggest exposure. So that would be one of the categories we'd look at. So where that limit is in comparison to the all other perils, the wind and hail, those kinds of things. So all that does come into play, but again, ultimately, it's a matter of whether the district and the budget can afford the lower deductibles perhaps with the higher limits. And in this case, based on our scoring methodology, the number one ranked vendor was with the limits that we currently have.
Gotcha. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Also moved.
So it's a two-part motion, so you'll read part one off of there? Oh.
You have it in the-
Oh.
The blue and one, the one in blue.
So I move to approve request for proposal number 2025-1035, Property and Casualty Insurance and Award PCF Insurance Services over the West, LLC, DBA Montalvo Insurance Agency. Sorry, I lost my place. With Indian Harbor School Board, legal liability, and Texas political subdivisions, general liability, auto physical damage, auto liability, and property through a multi-layer group carriers for a term of 1 year effective June 1st, 25 through May 31st, 26, with the option of renewal for up to 2 additional 1-year terms subject to favorable renewal rates and terms.
Second.
So I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by trustee Pena. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Do I have?
I move to authorize the Chief Human Resources Officer to execute any necessary property and casualty insurance application documents for the initial term of the policy and any subsequent renewals required to bind coverage.
I'll second that as well.
I have a motion by trustee Carrion, a second by trustee Pena. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. All right. Item 6C9, discussion and possible action on final payment to DNF Industries on contract number 2025-047 Dorothea Brown Middle School Sports Lighting. Dr. Gutierrez.
A final walkthrough of the project has been completed with facility staff, the contractor, and the engineer. All the items on the punch list have been completed. Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities and Maintenance and Operations, is available to answer any questions, and administration is recommending action on this item.
Okay. Discussion?
Well, I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Pena, second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, item 60, Board of Trustee items. 61, approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. 61A, School Safety and Security meeting, January 9th, 2025. 61B, Board Workshop, April 15th, 2025, 5:30 PM. 61C, Board Workshop, February 18th, 5:30 PM. 61D, School Safety and Security Meeting, April 22nd, 2025. 61E, Regular Board Meeting, April 22nd, 2025. 61F, Board Workshop, April 29th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Okay. I have a motion by trustee Peña, second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President, before we move on to item 7, recess to closed session, I'd like to wish Dr. Camacho happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Second.
Go for it.
All those in favor?
Item 7, recess to closed session. Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 Texas Government Code. Discuss the following. 7A, Human Resource Recommendation for School Year 2025-26. 7B, Discussion of Human Resources, Employee Resignations, and Retirees for School Year 2024-25. 7C, discussion regarding school safety and security. 7D, pending and/or potential litigation. 7E, possible real estate acquisition. At 7:56, we are in executive session. All right, time is 8:29 PM, and we are back from closed session. All right, item number 9, action on items in closed session. 9A, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for school year 2025-26. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources is submitted a list of recommendations for the 25-26 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez, second by trustee Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. 9B, discussion of human resources, employee resignations, and retirees for school year 2024-25.
Human Resources submitted a list of resignations and retirees for the 24-25 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information purposes only.
Okay, 9C.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. 9D. Nothing, John? Nothing to report. 9E. Thank you, sir. Item number 10, scheduled meetings. 10A, board workshop budget, May 28th, 2025, 5:30 PM, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom, Administration Building. 10B, board workshop, new board member orientation, June 5th, 2025, 9:30 AM, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom. 10C, regular board meeting, June 10th, 5:30, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom. 10D, special board meeting, Level 3 grievance, June 16th, 5:30, Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom. All right, item number 11, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez, second by trustee Carrion. All right, at 8:30, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And now you say that.
At 8:31, we are adjourned. Thank you all.